Hey everyone, we are going to check Paul's hips first before we adjust to see if he needs an adjustment today. I apologize, the laser doesn't show up really well on the camera, but I'll still have Emily show what we're pointing it at. Right. Feel about even pressure?
Yes.
Okay. So you can show that wall, the posture chart. There's a big kind of crosshair type laser on there that's not showing up really well, but it's lower on the left, and if you show the bubble back here, Emily, they might be able to see that a little better. So this is what I look at. It's a little level. All right. Now we're gonna lay you down. Let's check your legs, Paul. Excuse me. All right. And let's go ahead and reset you real quick. So bend your knees, pop your hips up, good and relax. Okay. And then if you come and film over my shoulder, you can see this left foot of Paul's is much shorter. If you look at the base of the heel, you can see how much that's ridden up. All right, so Paul's getting an adjustment today. Get up. And those types of things show that there is a postural distortion going on that's actually a brain-based mechanism. It doesn't necessarily mean he has a short leg or that his hip is hiked up, as much as it means that the brain is getting kind of wonky signals, integrating those and sending out signals that tell his body to pull in certain ways. So we're gonna fix that. And go ahead and swing your legs around to the left, Paul. And real quick, show the x-rays, Emily. I want everyone to see what I'm actually looking at, how we do this. So we take these different films. We take one from the side here to look at the integrity of the cervical curve. We take one inflection here to look at motion quality and see if all these bones are moving and articulating properly. It's really important that these bones, the juxtaposition between them and the motion between them be optimized, because the proprioceptive fibers inside those joints are the small neurons that constantly communicate with your brain about joint position and how gravity is affecting you. They'll get kind of a paucity of signals if they're not moving properly. So the brain will be deficient in a really important stimulation it needs to integrate and churn out the appropriate signals to the rest of the body. So it kind of becomes a garbage in, garbage out thing when things are not moving properly. We do the same with extension here, looking at motion quality. These shots are of that actual atlas bone, so we're looking very specifically at the top bone in the neck, the one I specialize in. It's kind of challenging to see if you're not trained in x-ray, so that's okay. And lastly, we look at the actual pelvis itself to see if there is a problem with the foundation of the spine. So all of this guides the clinical work we'll be doing. All right, Paul, let's get you set up here. Okay, and let's lay you down on your left side. Left side, yep. And scooch up a couple inches, right there. Half an inch up, right there, good. So we get Paul set up in a really specific spot. They say about 60% of the correction comes from the perfect setup. So we gotta make sure he's on this table just right. And just goofed up the angle of that headpiece, so let me fix that. Okay. So the headpiece really is the workhorse of the adjustment. The purpose of this is to get those joints inside to be kind of, this would drop right in here is what we're looking at. This atlas bone right here is kind of right in here. So we're trying to pre-stress these joints so they're primed and ready to move the way we want them to before I even adjust them. I like to think of it like this headpiece is kind of pulling the slingshot back. The adjustment is releasing the slingshot, and gravity and kind of that stored tension sort of takes over. Okay. Set you up. All right, we'll bring it down. Is that a little more comfortable?
That's fine.
Okay. Low or there. Feel good?
Yep, that's
Okay.
good.
So what I just did was I lined up the vector of force we're going to be delivering this adjustment from because of how he's misaligned. It needs to come from a very specific angle so we can normalize the position of those bones. And I have already set up this instrument so that this is at the right angle. And we're gonna line everything up with that laser. All right, Paul, let me have you stick your jaw forward. So sometimes you get a little reflexive reaction when you're putting some pressure in this area and it's out of alignment. So people will swallow, people will cough. You okay?
Yeah.
Okay. So you can feel a little impulse going in. Let me fix that real quick. All right, here we go. And the actual adjustment. Pretty gentle. You okay?
Yeah.
You trying to cough? Okay, good. Go ahead and sit up. All right, let's have you take a little lap around the office real quick.
Down the hall?
Just in the office. Just a couple of circles out there. All right, so just to kind of restate, we got all the angles for that adjustment kind of dialed in so that you know exactly what vector of force around that patient's head that needs to come from. Which is obviously calculated by the software to tell us exactly how the bones need to move. The software kind of renders a three-dimensional coordinate system that tells me exactly how everything is misaligned versus where it should be, and that's obviously how we correct it. Paul, come on back in here. A little coughing attack.
I just made my sinuses loosen up.
Did it? All right, we're gonna check your hips real quick. All right. Good. Cross your arms, and Emily, come back over here and let's show that bubble again. So we just a little baby tap on that atlas and you can see that that level has pretty well perfectly balanced. So let's lay you down and I'm going to check your legs again. Okay. All right, bend your knees real quick. Pop your hips up. Good. And so we can see Paul came much closer to perfectly balanced. He's probably a 1/16 of an inch off if we're going to split hairs on this left side, but that's pretty damn close to balance. So he might have something else I need to adjust today, and we're going to do that next, but really wanted to show everyone what the atlas adjustment and what that procedure looks like and how we use those digital x-rays to guide what we do. So hopefully that's clear for everyone, and I don't know how we're doing on time, but I'll answer some questions during the presentation now. So thanks, Paul, for your help.
You bet.
All right.